Hi, this is Red Ibis Coach. I'm Heather, and Gizmo is looking really cute, so I wanted to reward her for her efforts. She has a box of catnip that she spilled all over the rug, and she's very pleased with herself. I just got done with a workout, and I can't get the desk to do what I want it to do, so it's not important. Anyway, today I want to talk about how everything is organized around the male gaze, including what you do with your time and what you do with your career and how you show up at work and how you show up in the professional world. So, like, what, 99% of career advice, business advice, advice on how to make moves in your career, advice on how to go for things you want are all based on what a man would do and how a man would do it and how a man would approve of it. And people who don't follow those rules are judged and punished, whether or not they're successful. And even if they are successful, they still feel pressure to make the way they did something make sense for the male way of doing things. And I mean, we are in a patriarchy. There is no denying it. If you don't agree with that, fine. But like, I'm not sure why you watched any of my videos because I'm not trying to hide the fact that I don't do things for the male gaze. I kind of do them for the female gaze. And I purposely try to subvert the male gaze because the male way of doing things is not the only way, nor is it necessarily the correct way. And I find it very exciting and fun to talk to other female entrepreneurs and other women who have run businesses or been successful in some whatever their definition of a success is. It doesn't even necessarily have to be like monetary success or career success. Literally like moving here and there and everywhere around the world as they see fit, doing things like house sitting, for example. Is that something that a man would recommend? Is it like tough? Is it showing grit? Is it proving your value? Is it doing the grind? Is it making $1 million overnight? No, but guess what? People that I've seen do that are like healthier, happier, more relaxed. I'm not saying everyone should do it, but I think there's something about the female gaze or the female way of doing things that doesn't follow a straight path. There is no step by step by step, and then you're successful. There's what do you want to do? What do you feel like doing? What are you called to do? What are you compelled to do? What are you passionate about? How can you make that work for you? Is the economy a nightmare? Yeah. So all the more reason to try to fight for some kind of semblance of something that actually works for you. Because again, I've said it before, the way that we have been working isn't right. Not only is it not right, it's not even working out for a lot of people. Most people I know have been laid off at least once in the past couple of years, and we see more layoffs every day, and nobody feels like their job is secure. And if things were done from the vantage point of a woman's perspective and what a woman thinks is the right thing to do, I don't believe for a second that we would be doing what we're doing right now. Um, so what I'm saying is, again, the way men have been doing things doesn't fucking work for the world. It doesn't work for communities. It doesn't work for the care of the collective. And it doesn't work for like everyone's best interest. It doesn't work for the health of the planet. It doesn't work for people and pets and Like anything that needs a lot of care to exist, which is arguably most things, like even physical material things. If you treat it like shit, it will fall apart. Why would people or like the structures that we've tried to build to give people a livelihood, if we do that same thing to those structures, they're going to fall apart too. And the thing about doing something the male way is that it is not for sustainable long term. That's not the thinking. The thinking is, what can I get? What am I owed? What am I entitled to? And how can I get it as fast as possible? And when you do something that doesn't look like that, people don't even know what to think. And they just think it's weird, or they think it's stupid, or they just like judge it. It's a knee jerk reaction. But what, like, this life is so short. And if you're forcing yourself to do something that isn't even in your nature, you are siphoning off so much of your energy. And this is not a new thought. Rick Jarrow talks about it in his book, The Anti-Career Guide. When you choose to do something that doesn't fit you, you are cutting off so much of your life force, essentially, because you put so much effort not into the thing that you're doing, but into forcing yourself to do it. Forcing yourself to do things is what makes you really tired and exhausted and demoralized. It's not so much like the thing itself, it's the effort it takes to make yourself do it over and over again, day in and day out. And there are a lot of people who have a disposition where they're able to do that, but there's a cliff coming for almost everyone. And usually in middle age, if not sooner, if you are like closer to your true self, usually it happens sooner than that. But usually around middle age, people are like, fuck this. And they have a midlife crisis, or they have like a crash out, or they have a nervous breakdown, which is just like a deep nervous system collapse and a mental health crisis, essentially. And if people were given the flexibility and the freedom to do things in more than one way and not shove themselves into a certain way of being or a certain way of doing things, and not force themselves to always look at what they're doing from the perspective of a successful man. Like, do you ever just look at yourself with your own eyes, from your own perspective, not your parents, not your caregivers, not your mentors or your boss or your friends or your siblings or your partner, but your own perspective? When do you ever observe everything that you're doing from the vantage point of a compassionate and loving gaze that comes from you and is directed at you? Because the male gaze is not that. It's not that. And it never is there to support you. It is there to judge you and tell you to do more and try harder and beat yourself up. But the female gaze, I think, gets closer to, honey, what do you want? Sweetie, what do you feel is the right thing to do? I don't fucking think you need to listen to that guy. Like, come on. What's the voice in your own heart? What are they telling you to do? What would you do if you were actually thinking about your long-term mental health and state of mind? And there are so many answers, and that's why, like, I am a coach. That's why I'm never like, I have all the answers and I'll tell you what to do. That is a male way of thinking, and that will not work. That doesn't sustain you in the long term. That gives you like a blueprint that works for some people some of the time, and that might not even be you. So, like, part of my unlearning of this toxic way of existing and this toxic pressure is like stepping out of it, stepping away from it, and even getting to the point of saying, that's fucking stupid. I don't do that. I don't do that. And I'm not saying like you can't use a resume to apply for a job or you can't follow instructions on a form. Some things you still have to have a logical order to, because it's the fastest way to get from A to B. A resume is a very quick way to communicate your experience. A form quickly gives information. Some things still make sense to do, but I'm talking about the crushing weight of expectations that you didn't consent to, that don't help you, that don't make you feel good and serve no purpose other than to say, well, this one guy did it this way and it worked for him, so why can't you just do that? I mean, everyone else is doing that. Everyone else is laying everyone off. Everyone else is only having one-on-ones about like a checklist of what you've been working on. Everyone else is starting a business and doing like hard selling and like getting up in people's DMs and being really aggressive. Everyone else is beating their dog to make them listen. Like you start to see that certain things are there's no logical explanation for why they even exist. And everyone is in like a different stage of unlearning that. And some people haven't even started. So they look at someone like me and they're like, wow, you're fucking crazy. What a hippie weirdo. And that's fine. Eventually, it won't be until you're old, but you're gonna like, eventually you're gonna turn around one day and say, like, none of these were my thoughts. None of these were my choices. I wouldn't have done any of this if I was actually listening to what I really, truly think is best for me. And that can be like a really small thing that you do in your daily life because you are completely, like beholden to your job. Or it can be something as big as like, this is not the right career for me. This is not the right way of approaching work for me. This is not the right place to live for me. There's all kinds of ways that you can loosen, loosen yourself away from that um, prison, essentially, like mind prison. It's a way of controlling your behavior. It's a way of controlling your life. It's a way of controlling how you make choices, how you move through the world, how you spend your money, how you spend your time, how you think, even how you feel. All of that still falls under the male gaze and like, well, that's not what this guy would do, so why are you doing it differently? It it worked for him to do this thing, like why can't you do it that way? Or like this guy would think that what you're doing is stupid, or this guy would think that like you're too fat, or this guy would think that your teeth look ugly. Like so many things, so many little things and big things that just like keep you stuck and frozen in like this little box that isn't yours, that you didn't choose. So what's the female gaze? Not that. And if nothing else, your mind should not be trapped. If you can't necessarily do anything to change your circumstances right now, you can still work on changing your mindset and changing how you treat yourself and how you talk to yourself and how you let other people treat you and talk to you. You could start there. It's a great place to start if you feel like you don't have a lot of options. and slowly over time, your life will transform and open up in other ways. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching. See you next time.